Do you know the words that you use will become your thoughts, and your thoughts will become your behaviors, and your behaviors will formulate your habits. Then your habits will eventually determine your destiny. Hello, my name is Spaceman. I want to share with you something. Today I did a small experiment which turns out to increase my daily happiness, and I had a more fulfilled day. And the only one key concept is that the word we use and the words we choose to use. Today we had a very important meeting, and we were to do a presentation to a very important person who is from our brain customer. And then we're gonna do this 2 hour strategy presentation. I am responsible for part of that, and the rest of the leadership team are responsible for other parts. And it was a very important meeting, so I woke up very early. I sat in my car and I parked my car alongside the road, and I studied my part, even though I did it multiple times, but I wanted to be perfect, right? So I sat in my car, and I went through some mental rehearsals, and my presentation went well. And as I was sitting there just listening to other people's speaking, I kind of have this feeling that I gotta do something, right? Because usually in this kind of meeting, it's a long meeting, there's no break, and there's a lot of intense topics and conversation going on. So usually I would get very fidgeting, I would get nervous, and I would kind of like, restless. Then as I was sitting there and listening to other people speak, there's a thought came to my mind. What if I just jot down the notes of what other people are talking, but I'm also jotting down this one word, and I choose to cherry pick the positive words that people are speaking, right? For example, if the topic is about quality, and I would think of the words such as excellence, like craftsmanship, supreme, detail-oriented, and so on. So this is a practice that I did. I'm just trying to focus, right? And I'm just trying to make writing more productive. Otherwise, I just sat there and listened to whatever things. I was quite familiar with all the deck because we've been through it multiple times. And the reason I was doing that is that I'm not sure if you guys know about affirmations, right? So affirmations are basically short sentences that one uses to change the status of mind, or to gear yourself toward more positive mentality, right? So affirmation could go like, I'm strong, I'm rich, I'm powerful, I'm confident, I'm great, and something like that. So these are typical affirmations, and some people swear by affirmations. They said affirmations transform their life, right? And some people don't think these works, because when we're saying these affirmations, basically your mind, if you are saying I'm happy, I'm joyful, I'm peaceful, but at that moment in time you feel like in a state of stress, right? You're not feeling so well, and then your mind is going to tell you, no, this is not the fact, this is not the truth, you are feeling otherwise. So you will subconsciously going against that affirmation, and turns out make you feel much worse, right? So there is this another school of thought is that when we are coming up with the affirmations, instead of using the entire phrases, we just come up with words that we feel are uplifting, motivating, or words that put you in a better vibe, in a better mood. For example, these could mean peaceful, these could mean grateful, healthy, warm, blessed, favored, right? Because when you're saying these words to yourself, these are just words. There's nothing to go against about. It's not the entire phrase. It's like, I am strong and powerful, I'm confident. But if you truly don't feel so, and then your body and your mind will go against that notion. But if you just said confidence, powerful, right, peaceful, and you are actually, these words will slowly
and subconsciously affect how you feel, how you think, will affect how you interact with these words. So through the enough repetition and practice, these practice would help you to be happier. And I remember I read this scientific study is saying that we gotta keep the ratio between the negative and positive thoughts or words that come into us. For example, for every one negative thought, we need to counterbalance it with three positive thoughts to acquire and obtain a more well-balanced life and mental attitude, right? Because we all know that the human brain is a worrying machine. It is always predicting the risks, what could go wrong in the future, and finding what is wrong, what's happening not according to your expectation in the now, and worrying or recalling these miseries or bad experience from the past or whatever you should have said before and make you regret, right? So the default mode for the mind is to generate these I would say risk aversion thoughts. So usually the words the mind use are mostly geared toward the negative side. So we needed to subconsciously or consciously practicing recalling these more uplifting words so as to make us feel better and don't just dwell in the negativity and just look at more on the bright side, which brings me to another topic is that I think this is a culture thing. I'm from East Asia, and I think the culture for Taiwan or maybe China, you'll find that whenever people are talking about things, mostly, particularly the generation from my parents, right, the older, like in their 60s or 70s, because they grew up from poverty, and their my pattern is always to seek to go this the risk aversion mindset, right? So whenever they bought us up, and they're always trying to say, hey, you need to get to learn some skills, otherwise you won't find a job, right? Or just meet someone, otherwise you won't get married, and if you get married too old, then you will regret not having kids. Or in your career, you need to put all your effort in, otherwise if you lose a job, blah blah blah. So whatever they say, even though coming out from a good intention, but they are using this kind of negative based conversation style or negative based words, and these are like hints to us that something could go wrong, something bad could happen. So that is the first thing. And if you can try, talk to your friends who is coming from Asia, and there's one simple experiment. You ask them, how do you feel today? How do you feel today? And I would say most of people will go give you a more neutral or slightly positive or even pessimistic answer. They will say, I'm doing okay, nothing wrong, or I'm fine, or so. And I used to say I'm surviving, right? Whenever people talk to me and ask me this in people from the Western culture. So this is our default mode, how we utilize the words that we pronounce, right? The words that come to our mind do have a very impactful influence on us. And I also found that people from the Western culture tends to be more geared toward the positive side in their word choice. If you ask them even though sometimes I feel it's a little bit exaggerated. But for example, in my position, I got to interact with like North Americans or Europeans. If you ask them, how are you today? And most of them will say, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling awesome. Everything is excellent, marvelous, right? They tend to use these words are more positive, more uplifting, and perhaps that is also how the words will creep in and, piece by piece, little by little, influence how people think and eventually influence how you behave. And that potentially gives you a more positive outlook for life, then you can become much fulfilled and happier. So coming back to my little practice, I just found that the act of writing down whatever I hear, and I do a little translation, which means whatever people are saying, I'm still taking notes, but on the side I will write down the positive qualities or the positive words being said to a specific topic, right? And even though they're using more neutral or negative words, I will just find an antonym for that negative word and just write down there. So this is kind of a meditative process, I would say, because this is fundamentally changing how our mind generate and write down the thoughts that is popping up in your mind, and we are consciously trying to change the way and the vocabulary that is in the default, let's say, the default mode of the mind. So this is my little learning and fun experiment, I would say. Hopefully you could give it a try, and if that's helpful to you, I would be really happy. And please make sure to subscribe and click like on the video. And if you can share what you think, your story, and how you shift yourself toward a more positive outlook of life, I would be very happy to hear from you and also learn from you. So remember, our words will become our thoughts will become our behaviors, and our behaviors will become our habits, and our habits will eventually determine our destiny. Thank you. My name is Baseman.